When it comes to Horizon Forbidden West or Horizon Zero Dawn, is a world set in the future, post-apocalyptic, super advanced technology type stuff, but kind of still caveman type stuff. Like, it's set far in the future, but civilization has been wiped out from the past generations, and they call 2000 or below people old ones and stuff. So there's machines out there instead of actual creatures, balance out the ecosystem. You're the main character known as Aloy, who has to fight a whole bunch of different ridiculous powerful robots with a bow and arrow and different type of weapons. But how strong is Aloy, one of the main characters of PlayStation? Narratively speaking, she doesn't have super strength or nothing. It's just her skills, fighting ability that makes her such a threat. She was considered an outcast by her tribe because she technically didn't have a mother. She's literally just a clone of somebody else that existed back in the day. So somebody else had to raise her. She didn't really know much other than just training to survive and all that good stuff. Ross, her father figure, trained her from a very young age. Of course, there were some people in the tribe that were nice to her and cool with her. A big part of the game, she was being trained so she can join them, so she wouldn't be considered an outcast no more, so she can prove to them that she has the skills necessary to be a part of them. And when like their examination and stuff, or they said the proving, Ross was implied to be a really good fighter because she's good with using staffs or spears, training since young, with accuracy, climbing, so she has some decent upper body strength, balancing, helps with her agility to navigate the environment, stealth, to hunt, to eat food, to survive when she got to. Over the years, her aiming got better when it comes to her accuracy and just skills in general. She stumbled across this cave, and in the cave, she stumbled across some old technology. This thing being the focus, this will be as her way of being able to see things other people can't, scanning different objects, scan the environment, get the advantage on the enemy to be able to track the enemy's weak points and stuff. Focus. It's like a computer, one could say, their version of a cell phone. Her reputation after the first game preceded her to where everybody just considered her like an outlier when it comes to just a person just with ridiculous skills, especially with different gears and stuff. Different type of acrobats like that. When it comes to strength, she ain't no superhuman or nothing, but she's definitely stronger than your average woman. Considering all that climbing you have to do with upper body strength and such, or walls she could pull down, that was unstable already, but you know, little stuff like that and strength. Or strong enough to pry open doors with her spear. No strength feats that are too flashy. According to Guerrilla Games, Aloy is 5'6". Boulders like this, she can use her leverage, use her staff that can help lift people out of sticky situations like that. Normal strength stuff. They're still worth visually showing, even if they're not all that impressive when it comes to strength. I mean, she's just a normal human after all, but way better than your average, I would say. Strong enough to use her staff or spear and leverage to help people get lifted off of big old robots. She's geared up. She holds the spear that's pretty OP, special arrows of all sorts, different things in her pouches that can help her heal, or food. She also has a breathing apparatus where she can breathe underwater, ropes to help her grapple. Her spear even has special perks to it. The resonator attacks whatever strength she does lack when she's fighting machines. She can attach like literal little spots on the monsters and do like that. Like, boom. The resonator blast strike the robot and make it explode and mess up the creatures that way. Just like that. Part of the reason why her gear gets so OP is because over the time she actually crafts and upgrades it herself throughout the stuff she loots over time.
Store up and release energy. Resonate.
Crafted a pull caster. It's like this game's version of a grappling hook. Uses this grappling hook in combat to get her out of sticky situation, to rope herself high in the air, and she has a windshield that can kind of make herself glide. To give you a good idea of how strong her gear is, this particular occasion when all this big bullcrap was about to fall, Aloy used the ropes that she got to hold it from crushing them quite a bit, to let you know how strong her gear actually is. She used her spear to pry open doors, strong enough to do stuff like that. And simple. Even though she's stronger than your average woman, there are people that are actually physically stronger than her, but she makes up for it in skills. Skills-wise, she has no problem mixing in her spear combat with a literal punch or a combo or two. When it comes to her fighting skills,
You know who I am.
Red hair, bow, fights better than 10 warriors put together. You're well known.
You can spar with us.
And when I beat you, I'll earn a mark?
If. Don't let a victory go to your head.
You won fair and square, but I bet you won't be able to take on the Enduring.
Serves me right for thinking I could go up against the savior of Meridian.
she's such a good fighter. Even when there's 4-1, they don't want to challenge her, even though they outnumber her. They're letting you know how skilled of a fighter she is. It's this many men, and they don't want none of her smoke when she tried to protect this girl right here. She's a above average fighter. They didn't want none of that, even though they outnumbered her. Let that sink in. Even skilled enough to challenge and be Regala's right-hand champion. Destructive power for arrows. She can break through people that have like energy shield. As you can see, literally shattering the shield with her raw power for arrows. Focus can search for different soft spots on the person as well, or critical areas, or vital spots.
Defeated her champion, Grutta, in single combat. Impressive.
Chief of the Tanakh even threatened the Chief of the Tanakh.
What's stopping me from killing you right now and taking what I need to save everyone?
You might even succeed.
Chief Hikaru, the Chief of Tanakh, literally said you might even succeed, showing her fighting paralysis to fight somebody that's beaten Regala in the past. He was able to defeat her in the past, and Aloy challenged her to a 1v1. Serious accepted challenge between the two. Aloy is able to hang with her at melee combat and skills, showing how competent Aloy is. Long story short, Aloy still was able to get the advantage over Regala herself. Aloy even took on one of the best Tanakh fighters of all time, the Enduring, when it comes to melee combat. This warrior is clearly older than Aloy, so she has more experience, but that doesn't stop her from winning in a fight. Proving once again why Aloy is above her time when it comes to fighting ability. Sparring with some of the best or older, wiser people that have had more experience than her lets you know her fighting is just above normal or above her craft. She's even skilled enough to take out the Eclipse cult leader, the beginning of her reputation.
Well fought in there. You really know how to knock someone out.
She has throwing spears that can be like explosive to knock the enemies over. Warrior bows, one of my favorite arrows for melee type combat or close range combat to get up and close and personal to the villain or robots or humans she's fighting. Different type of arrows with it, like ice arrows, all types of elementals, literal huge gun type things to hit you with a Gatling gun of arrows all at once. These can be elemental too. Poison the enemies that she's fighting with elemental. Gotta have electricity as an element too. It wouldn't be right to not have flame arrows. Respect it. What's your favorite arrows for her? With her focus, she even has weapons like a slingshot, a rope caster good for flying enemies that are annoying so he can tie them down to the ground so he can light them up that way, or just a straight up trip caster to set traps to have you walk into your doom. She even has adhesive arrow types to where it can kind of slow you down. Spear also lets her hack different creatures to where she can literally mount the different creatures if she wants to move around the environment even faster. Her spear is pretty lethal. In narrative, she actually has some armor that can give her increased resistance against these powerful foes she has to battle. It literally shields you against bullcrap, like the Shield Reaver armor. Now, this armor is a part of the narrative because in the beginning of Forbidden West, she's wearing this same armor. On top of the Shield Reaver armor, she has other tech, like a literal stealth tech to where she can literally cloak herself. Robots can't see her. Aloy can literally charge up her staff with electricity to the point where it makes a big Thor-like blast area of effect. I'd say her strongest arrows can effortlessly take out buildings, honestly. She's consistently blasting apart gigantic creatures that's at least 1 story tall, and her solid steel. These arrows are definitely not normal. To get a good idea of how strong the creatures are that Aloy has to consistently battle, machines that are not even that big. You see this rock she's standing on? Even creatures of this level can literally pretty much disintegrate big rocks or boulders like that. Imagine what gigantic machines that look like a darn T-Rex could do, that are even confirmed narratively to be stronger than that machine I just showed you a second ago. And she has to damage these type of beings, albeit it is with weak spot and hitting their weak spots and stuff like that, but it's metal all around these big old creatures. And she has to fight this with her arrows and weapons or etc. Her weapons can damage things like this. Her weapons should have the raw power to be able to destroy an entire building. Another good way to understand how strong is the things she fights. You see this big old thing supporting this structure? This is a perfect example because Aloy literally didn't have her weapons, so she had to literally have this thing ram into different supports. Of course, she can't handle this without her weapons, but look what it did to it. Rammed into all of that and broke it down. These support beams, basically. Solid bricks. You see that? Caused all of this stuff to collapse. It was supporting all of that. But as soon as she got her weapon, she was confident enough to where she thinks she could take it on. The difference between her without a weapon and the difference between her with an actual weapon. Completely night and day difference. To get a good idea of how strong her weapons are here, you can see when other people use her similar weapons that she has, this is what they do to the environment. Like these little spears do all of this to the ground area. And these are the type of weapons that Aloy owns in her arsenal as well, throwing spears and stuff. Their weapons seem to be pretty powerful because even in one-shots and in cutscenes, Aloy has arrows like that, or even better, let you know how strong her arrows are when other people use the arrows in the game. There are even super hexy devices like this that can take out a whole bunch of machines at once at the same time, one single blast, and it only affects machines. One can say this is their version of an EMP to even the odds against the war, even though they had all these machines on their side, just one-shotted them all. But this is not something that's a part of her standard equipment, and she can't just use this over and over again. There were a select few beings that Aloy's weapons cannot harm. These far zenith, these super unrealistic, super advanced technological humans that live for 1,000 years, that have ridiculously overpowered shielding that her weapons cannot penetrate, letting you know how overpowered they was when it comes to their technology. Like, I was shocked when I saw this, like it literally can't hurt them. Aloy had to actually run away from this being, but thanks to her love-hate relationship with her buddy known as Silence, to work together to get some special tech to help breach these defensive shields. So it's good to have allies, Aloy. But Silence refuses to say what kind of technology this was to break through their shields. Doggone it, maybe we'll see that stuff in the future or something. Aloy might get some type of future tech basic standard gear like that, like a far zenith bow or something, or a far zenith special equipped armor that has a shielding. Because without their armor, they're just like glass cannons. But thank you, Silence, for helping at least. An EMP for futuristic stuff, I guess? Silence, what is this crap made of to really take down this futuristic tech shield? You ain't telling us something. No shield. You ain't indestructible no more. Now normal bots can hurt them, even though they still have the power of flight and can blast, but they're just kind of like glass cannons with no protection now, though, which makes Aloy's job a lot easier, even if they have better tech. At least they can harm them now. This also helps that one of the Zeniths was on their side, too. Allies come in handy. Am I the only one that want a Silence spin-off game to see Silence's adventures? I think it would be dope. But without this shield protecting them, she can kind of even the odds and get the advantage over them where otherwise she couldn't. So it kind of just evens the odds. Even if they have better tech, her skills and everything else can take over and make up for whatever she lacks. Do you respect Aloy? Do you think she's one of the coolest video game characters ever? Her different gear options she has now that she's improved upon, Resonator Blast, Warrior Bows. But how strong do y'all think Aloy is? How strong do y'all think her gear is? I also want to give a quick shout out to those that have taken the time to donate to the channel. It helps out a lot, believe it or not. Respect Aloy.